Okay, so we need to remove some covering material over some of our access holes in the airplane. Now, when you're removing covering material over these important access holes, be sure to find the holes with your finger. Make sure you can feel the hole before you cut around it. And also, if you're using a hobby knife, use a new fresh blade, because although covering material is soft and it cuts easily, it also tends to dull the blade really quickly. So if you're using a hobby knife, have some spare blades available, or if you're using disposable razor blades, you'll be going through several of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut covering away from our wing spar tube hole on the side of the fuselage. Take your time and get this right. Okay. We also need to feel the wing bolt hole, and we need to cut the covering away over the wing bolt hole. Okay. There's also an oval access hole for our aileron servo wire, so we'll cut that out. This blade's already getting dull in the third cut. Okay, and now finally, for the wing, there's the rear wing alignment pin. Okay, and that's a little oval-shaped hole. Okay, so that's the 4 holes we cut out on the side of the fuselage for wing access. We'll do the same thing on the other side of the fuselage. If you have any problem finding these, you can look inside the fuselage and you can find them. Wing spar, wing bolt, aileron wire, wing alignment pin. And you can actually push the knife through from the inside if you need help finding them on the outside. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a cooling hole. We need to get our hot air out after it's flowed over our motor and batteries in flight. So we're going to cut out this square of covering right here, just like that. And this will allow the hot air to get out of the inside of the airplane and keep our battery and motor cooler. Alright? Now, moving back to the rear of the airplane, we're going to make a cut where the horizontal stabilizer is inserted. Okay, so feel this with your finger right in this area. And take your time on this. Don't make cuts unless you feel very certain about where you're cutting. It's not a race. Just want to have a properly assembled aircraft when we're done. So we cut out this slot, which is approximately 1/4 of an inch high, and it has rounded ends. Get rid of that. And there's also a section here which allows the elevator to swing up and down. Okay, and that's how that looks when it's done. And we do that again on the other side. Okay, so now we can install the vertical stabilizer. We'll remove the stabilizer from the rudder. So what we're going to do is insert this into the slot at the back of the fuselage like so. And we want to be sure to get it all the way in the slot, because we want the hinge line here at the back to be a straight line. It'll be much easier to hinge our rudder if this is in fact a straight line. If it's not, we can still get the job done, but it'll be easier and it'll swing freer if this is a straight line. We're going to use CA glue because CA glue is lightweight, and we want this joint at the back of the airplane to be light so the airplane's not tail heavy. We're going to be using Mercury medium CA. Medium's easier to work with than thin in this application because it doesn't run all over the place. And Mercury is a nice quality CA with a no clog tip. It's pretty easy to use, but there's several good brands you can make use of. So what we're going to do is we're going to put medium CA on either side of the slot, left side and on the right side. And then we're going to insert our vertical stabilizer all the way in. We're going to make sure this is a straight line here in the back. On our vertical stab, we'll prepare our rudder, and before we can do that, we need to talk about control horns. Your kit includes 4 control horns for the 4 control surfaces: your rudder, your elevator, left aileron, right aileron, and you need to be able to distinguish between them. There are 2 different styles in the kit. If you look here in the front, these have a longer base, and in the back these have a shorter base. The longer base, this is for your ailerons. These are aileron control horns, so we'll get rid of those for now. And these with the shorter base, these are for the tail controls. One's for the rudder and one's for the elevator. So we'll take one away, and we're going to install this horn here into the rudder. So to install the control horn into the rudder, we need to do 2 operations. First, we need to find the slot here at the bottom of the rudder. Again, don't cut until you've found the slot with your finger or your fingernail. It's right here at the bottom of the rudder, and once you've located it and made a crease there, you can take your hobby knife and you can remove the covering and open up the slot. Okay, so there it is and ready to use. What we're going to do is take our control horn and we're going to test fit it into the slot. Okay, covering should just push out a little bit on the other side, indicating we've made it all the way through. Okay, and now it's ready to install. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove it. We're going to take our medium CA and we're going to put a healthy amount of medium CA on the slot. And now we're going to install the control horn into the slot. That's it. It's got medium CA glue all in the slot. It's now all over the control horn. If we want, if we're not sure if we have a good joint, we can always put a little more glue on the outside. There like that. Make a little fillet of glue. No harm there. And we put this aside to dry. One topic about cleaning up dried CA glue. Anytime you're using CA glue, especially thin CA glue, but medium and thick can also do this, around your covering, you can get drips and runs of CA going different directions, and you also will get a light frosting sometimes in the shape of your own fingerprints if the CA fumes move over to where you've been touching a piece. They're attracted by the chemicals in your fingerprints. So you can get all sorts of nasty CA marks all over the covering of your airplane during your build. And so all you need to do is get a product called debonder. There's several different brands of debonder. Every CA company has debonder. This is the Mercury. And just spray some on a towel and just wipe your plane as necessary. And for light marks like I had on this rudder where my fingerprints were, it just took a light wiping. But even if I had a drip that was a solid drip all the way down, if I spend a little time with the debonder, I can get it off. So if you have CA drips on your airplane, they're easily taken care of with a little bit of debonder. And it's not a time-sensitive thing. You can pick up the debonder later or when it's convenient, even long after your airplane is assembled, and you can still take off any marks or drips from CA. So there you go.